you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Paul Wolff.
Oh, hi. And
How
you
are you? I'm Fred Astaire.
Oh.
You must be Ginger Rogers.
Yes, right. You're staring at me. That's a stare.
Staring at you.
All right, I'm staring at you.
Well, I mean, look at you. You've gone from hi, here's my little booth to hi, here's one side of it. Oh, and by the way, I've got the other side as well.
Yeah, so don't mess with me.
I know. Look at you,
Well,
Mr.
that's
Double Booth.
you can see down the. You can walk down the aisle and see that one. You can see this coming down the. See that guy up there? He's looking right at me.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. So we've got a couple of new things. As you've noticed, we acquired Full Tech.
I mean, I made this comment online at the time, but I mean, two of my favorite people, you
and Steve
Jackson, thank God, could have gone anywhere in any direction.
Well, you know,
it went to probably one of the only two or three safe places it could have gone, which is to you.
Well, yeah, and that was one of the things that Steve and I had this conversation about that, and that's one of the things that we talked about is to not screw it up, because that's been around too long, and it's a lot of times companies say, "Oh, we're going to make it better" and stuff like that. No, it's being built in the same facility that it was by the same people. All we're doing is allowing it to continue, and we're going to add some things to it, but we're not going to change what we have, because
let's go over there so everybody knows what we're talking about. Because we're being very cryptic in a moment.
Everything is hand built in Fort Collins, Colorado, and it's all point to point soldering, everything, and it's just. I had these in my studio. I had those in the studio, and you can't change.
Me too. Many of them.
You can't change them. You can't do that. No. We do have the 500 versions, which sound really good. It's the same circuitry as these. It just has discrete amplifiers in it.
Doesn't have the 2520s, the API ones.
Yeah,
which you might know something about.
Well, they're still going to sell them to us. So right. That's really good.
I have personally sold many of these for you because. This on an insert on a bass guitar is life-changing.
Yeah.
I've had guys come in and track, so I'll just track through it, and they're like, "God, I've never." And this is like, we're talking about John Button, like proper bass players, They're like, "How do you get such a good sound?" And I just take the insert out, so they just hear the direct sound, and they're like, "Oh my God!" And they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing.
Well, the nice thing too about these is on a stereo mix, these actually sound better to do the equalization than one of these, because these add so much that it kind of adds too much.
Well, there's a sort of part of you that thinks, oh, the tube would be better on the bass. No, it isn't. There's a hardness to APIs. So we maybe talked about this before, but I was doing an album and I tracked everything at my studio on my old API, and I go back to mix at my other studio on the SSL. And I'm like, why does the low end just not sound as good?
Right.
And I'm thinking, I think API, at least in my humble, naive way, think really fast transient, snappy drums, that's the API, isn't it? It's just this, wow.
But it also has that increased distortion in the low end that's not second harmonic.
Yeah.
Which it adds that tree trunk. Same with the old Neves, that's third, but it adds that tree trunk. And that's what doesn't happen in a solid state console.
So I call Shelly Yakis, and I'm like, Shelly, you mix Under a Blood Red Sky, all these big records on an SSL, how do you get the low end? And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, I just tracked on an API, my rough mixes I can't get my low end as good as my rough mixes. And he goes, aha, you know the answer. All he would do is, he said,
for $8,
he goes, on the insert, he would just put in an API line amp. That's all he would do on his bass guitar. And I was just like, brilliant, why didn't I think about that?
Well, but that's the whole idea. It's just a lot of times you can put them in there and just have it bypassed, and it just runs through the electronics, and it just adds that stuff you need. So I mean that's the whole point. And this stuff, I don't know.
We love it. I mean, I was there with Jack, and when we came up with this, for the extra mids and stuff like that. And
he's
so glad that you're doing this.
Well, no, I mean, and that was one of the things, is it would have died out if anybody got it, unless somebody was as loving as.
Well, they would have wanted it because Steve got to be friends with Gene. He got the schematics. This is all done properly, and somebody would have just wanted to buy it just to have the name.
Well, one of the things that I told Steve when he did this is that I said that if you make these exactly like the originals, you're going to have one problem: is they're going to sound like they did when they were new. Yeah, they're not going to sound like the 50-year-old ones. So you get in front of that and you tell people that, and it becomes a feature instead of a detriment. So that's what he did, and everybody goes like, "This is what they sounded like when they were brand new."
Yeah.
And it's awesome. So yeah, this is the thing. I'm really glad we're going to do that. We're going to do a DI. We're going to do a mic pre, because he had designed some mic pre's. You know, before he gave this, before Steve got the company, they had a prototype compressor, a mic pre, and a, you know, not a DI, but we're going to add those things to it.
Great.
Why not? You know.
Amazing.
We're idiots. Why not?
Yeah. No, this is great. I miss seeing Steve on the floor though. It was always a great character.
Well, let's go over to our new mic pre. One of our new mic pre's.
Great.
We're told by people that they don't have a mic pre in the console, so I designed an 8-channel mic pre that goes in the console. And I did one of the things that I wanted to do was make sure that the mic pre was good for tracking.
Yep.
And tracking, everything's hot, and everybody has to use a pad on a kick and a snare, and I didn't want that because the sound changes so much. So I designed a mic pre that has lower gain. When you set it to 0, it actually is unity. If you put -20 in, it's -20 out. So this mic pre does not clip until you hit +18 going into it.
Okay.
So you don't need a pad unless it's like really heavy. I'm running all the line inputs from the session. I'm running through the mic pre's into the console just to show that. Okay.
Right.
So I decided to make a 500 version of the same thing. So what you've got with the gain at 0, you basically have the op amp is running at unity gain, which most op amps run at 6.
Yeah.
And the transformer's got a 10 dB pad on the secondary, not on the primary. So we're literally 20 dB lower than most op amps, or most mic pre's are. When you switch it to the 10 dB position, now you've lost the pad, but you still have the amp at unity. So it's still down there. Okay. And now when you go to 20, that's like a normal one. But we can go all the way up to 56. So it has that full range. And so you do have a pad if you want to use the pad, because you might want to get a tighter sound out of a drum, and so the mic is a little flappier with the transformer. So you put the pad in there, it tightens it up a little bit. One of the things that really makes a difference is a kick tone. If you run a kick tone directly into a mic pre, it typically is very loose sounding. Okay. And if you put the pad in there, it really tightens up a lot, more so than a mic does. And that was one of the examples that I saw, because I could switch this from -20 with the pad on to 0 with the pad off by instantly switching it and have an exact comparison of level. And it's amazing how different it was.
You've been involved in many mic pre's over the years. API, the 2T here, the Slate one. You helped with the, what is it called?
That guy Lindell, I did a mic pre for him.
Yeah, and you did, what's the Trident console that's not a Trident?
Oh, the Tone Lux. Well, I did the Tone Lux.
Tone Lux, another one? No, the other one. Sound Techniques.
I didn't design that, but
you helped.
We found out why a transformer 7 years later didn't sound like the transformer that was originally made. Yeah. It had to do with the metallurgy in the laminations. And I figured that out for Dan and Danny, and it was like, this is why, because none of that stuff was documented. Right. So we figured out what the key was.
My point is, I know people that
I've done it once.
Exactly. I've known people that have designed designed a mic pre, cloned a mic pre, sometimes 2 or 3. I don't know anybody that's done the kind of wealth that you have. So when I'm going to ask you the dumb question, which probably watching would be like, what would you say this sounds like? What is your vision for the sound of it?
This one here is kind of unusual, because I had David Guerin from Cinemag design me a special mic transformer.
Okay.
So because there's like magic numbers with transformers. A 10-to-1 transformer, it wants the ratio. It works out really, really well as far as the way it sounds. Yeah. If you go to a different ratio, it isn't. So I wanted an 8-to-1 because I wanted less gain in the transformer. So he did 2 or 3 prototypes until we got it right, because it had resonances and stuff like that, and he finally worked all that out. And I wanted a transparent mic pre that still had a little bit of tone to it, a little bit of rise in the low end, nice smooth high end, and that's what he gave me. And then I used the op amp. I'm designing my own, but right now I'm using the Cappy op amp, which is it's more similar to an older Huntington 2520. You know, and then I have my output transformer, which is steel, but has 4 laminations and nickel in the middle of it to pull down that distortion just a little bit. But the circuit itself has a little bit of its own, so it has a unique sound. I couldn't compare it to anything. It's kind of a different sound than anybody. It has the elements of second harmonic distortion and all that stuff, but it's just a little different. Okay. But the guys that have them, they just love them.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I want to try them out.
Yeah, no, that would be a good thing to do.
Great. Well, we're just in the new room we're just getting a 500 series chassis delivered next week. I will hit you up. Okay, moving on then to the Ref Pre.
So the Ref Pre, the idea behind the Ref Pre was that you have a ribbon mic that you really like the sound of, and you don't want to color it with a mic pre, because a mic pre can be very heavy on a ribbon mic.
Sure.
And not all of them. Hi, Gary. If you have a mic that you like, okay, this has an impedance matching circuit in it that when you hit the ribbon mic, it jumps the gain up 10 dB and changes the input impedance. Yeah. So it's designed specifically for that. So it's designed to have a clear amplification of the microphone, which for ribbon mics and stuff like that,
hence
it's really
the
good.
reference preamp.
Yes, the reference preamp.
Yes.
So that's the way it is. And it has a pad and it has a high pass filter.
Reference.
Right. It took us a long time to come up with that name.
I like it.
So then we have, of course, the Sunset Sound Mic Pre, which is the original one that they had in the console. It's got the large transformer, input transformer, which is 2-to-1, which is why it doesn't have a pad.
So is that based on the Studio 3 console rather than Studio 1?
More on the Studio 1, those ended up in the Studio 3 console.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where that came from. Now, we just came out, we'll show you that in a second, we just came out with a quad version of that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, a rack mount.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we've got a couple more mic pre's we're going to come out with, and we're doing it with these colored rings. You see, those are gray. This is orange. We're going to do one that's light blue, so you'll be able to tell which one is which by the features.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one of the things, and you notice they all have the same position for switches.
I like that. Yeah. That might sound some people why, but it makes perfect sense.
No, it is because
quickly.
Yeah, when you're moving quickly, the same knob is in the same location. You know, so that's set up. Now, I'm going to have to go steal that and bring it right back.
Steal away, my friend.
Yes.
Steal away. Fantastic. Oh, it's beautiful looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, it's got clouds. It's got some beach sand. It's got a sun.
I love it.
So this is basically the same thing, but there's 4 of them.
Nice.
So it does all the same stuff.
Quad duty.
Yes, the quad duty.
Nice. Paul must love that. 4 of his dad.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Oh, it's got some weight to it. Good.
And that doesn't have anything in it either. That's just a prototype build. We got these boards like Saturday or something. So that's just the chassis.
Okay, great.
So you got 4 mic in, 4 mic out, but you've also got it on a D7. If you use a Yamaha cable, 4 in, 4 out for AES, it works.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, this is lovely. Okay, I'm excited by this. Very nice indeed. Yeah, a pair of those on drums. Happy bunny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which means 2 of these racks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Some Bose headphones, noise cancelling, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Show canceling.
Show cancelling.
Yeah. So we have, you've seen this, so you can hit this button and watch it move, see?
Ooh.
So what you do is you set this where your 85 dB point is, and then you press this and hold it, and it blinks. Now if somebody comes in and says, "Hey Warren, how you doing?" You just I just spent an hour setting my levels. You hit this button, it goes right back to where it was, and then the pot catches up to where it's supposed to be.
Very nice indeed.
Yep.
I'm like a little kid. That's great.
And then you've got this over here. You got talkback.
Yeah.
You can talk back to 8 different things, but you can also talk back to any individual one.
Okay.
By just pressing the button.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have an all and a separate. You just basically do any one you want, or that's an all.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what I did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
And then this right here is your speaker ABC, and then if you want to set the LFE, I do that and it's on. If I do this and go back, it's off.
Okay.
But if I do this and hold that, now it stays on every time I come back. And then you can also, by pressing and holding this,
Yeah.
you can adjust the offset gain. So match the level of the speakers. So that's see, if I go here, if I go to there and I hold it till it blinks, now I set this like that. Now when I release it, it goes back to where it was, but the volume stays the same. So now when I switch to all three of these, the volume control stays the same, but the levels can change.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody do that before.
Well, I know. So the volume control always is the same. That's the main thing. And then we got a Bluetooth input.
Did you get that, Eric? Did it all make sense? That's
No.
a good one. It's a good one.
What?
Well, I'm thinking about shorts and things like that.
And then you've got Bluetooth input, so you can select, play back something if you want.
Yeah.
And the new Bluetooth module, you'll be able to send Bluetooth to it, and you can send it out of your own speakers. Now, this is the sound bar that I just finished. We've got this is for.
Wait, you just finished it?
Yeah. Now, see how wide it is? We actually have width and height and dialogue. We don't have bass and treble. And then you got the KDS speakers. So they've got that. Yeah, this is going to turn out good. I just did this while I was doing that. I figured, well, I might as well do this.
Yeah.
So I did them at the same time, So if one didn't work, the other wouldn't work. But they both work. Uh-oh, our bar's here.
Jeez.
Yeah, party time. Wow. So this is the ProPass 32, 16 in and out.
Yeah.
But they alternate with the front. So it's really 24 in and out, or it's actually 32 in and out, because you can alternate between the back and the front. Then this is the 64, which has 32 in and out.
Yeah.
And these alternate with the first or the second 32, so you have actually 48 in and out. Then you have the 128, which has some of them on the back and the rest of them on the front. I don't know how many. It's like all the D subs in the world. And then we have the ProPass 200, which is 100 in and 100 out. And the last four are on these jacks here. So.
I hope you've got deals with cable manufacturers.
Well, our relay manufacturer told us that we are the largest user of the relays, and this company makes all the relays for everybody. Panasonic, K-Met, everybody like that. Wow. Our purchase order was the largest one they've had. And this uses 3,500 per unit.
Really? For the big boy?
3,500 relays. Wow. Yeah.
What's the retail on this?
You'll have to ask somebody who knows.
You're supposed to give me the Henry Ford answer. I don't know, but I can find you somebody who does.
That's right, exactly. Now, we do have one thing over here. Let me see if Jared wants to talk about it.
Do you want to talk about this?
We have two things at the show that we are imminently going to sell. This is not the way they will look. This is our attempt to camouflage them.
Oh, I love it.
So one is just a guitar to line level box.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's why the pedals are all here. So,
where's the guitar?
there's no guitar because because the point of this box is to use these as in mixing sessions, right?
Amazing.
I mean, yeah. So you have send and return level, a blend knob, and then our infamous tilt EQ on every channel.
Great.
So pretty straightforward. And these are the same box. There's just two of them.
Who makes these cables?
I think it's Three Monkeys. They're the ones that you screw on.
Because I used to use those on my old pedal boards. Not this one, but the other company where you just bought the cable, you cut it to a length, and then just twisted it in.
Yeah, it's just threaded, so you just thread it on. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the ones. Brilliant idea. Great.
Yeah,
right, well,
really.
When's this out?
It'll be out in a couple months. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. We have like 300 pedals. So it would be absolutely amazing to be able to just...
And we are going to do a version of this that's 8 channels.
Nice.
That has Dante. Because it really is aimed at somebody who's using pedals and mixing.
Wow.
So,
good.
And then this is our...
I get asked about this all the time. Pedals for mixing.
Oh.
Because every guitar player was like, well, it's great that I've collected 57 different types of fuzz. But I wonder if I could use that for something else other than the twice a year that I press it.
Yeah. Plus the nice thing about pedals is that when you twist a knob, you usually get serious response.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And also with things like, we were talking about old synths and stuff like cheap, inexpensive Casios, and there's about like 200,000 DX7s or something in the world, and they all sound really great when you can mess with them on pedals and stuff like that. So
especially a DX7.
Yeah.
You played around with programming a DX7.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's this, and then this is like a milestone for us.
Yeah.
Because we're building converters.
Yeah.
So this was originally envisioned and will be something that we put directly into a Pro Patch. So the idea is that you can have a Pro Patch that that has conversion built in.
Yeah.
So when you're making signal chains, it can start analog and end digital, or start digital and end analog, or start digital, go through a bunch of analog stuff and back out digital. So not dissimilar to this, if you're using this box as an insert box in a DAW, which is a use case that makes a ton of sense, you can then get in and out directly in the box via Dante or USB instead of having to do converters. Or somebody else's converters, right?
People need to be using Dante. They need to be using Dante. They need to understand just how incredible it is.
It's unbelievable. I mean, we did Dante first because of our own personal use cases, but we did do USB. So you can, in fact, actually, with this built into this, you could use the Pro Patch, like especially this one, as literally your only interface. Connect it to the computer via USB, and now you've got like whatever it is, like 196 analog channels. You put all your analog gear in, and you're done. So that
what
was.
What are these retailing for? Paul can remember.
13,987.
13,987.
Yep. So that's the 200. So that is almost here. 100 in, 100 out, and obviously I got to make sure I say this. The major difference in our patch base is it's all relay based. So I mean, from you can see from my shirt, right? Yeah. So 100% relays, no electronics in your signal path. So
amazing. Yeah, and if you got a professional studio with a lot of gear, you can patch it all in there, and you can bypass the expense of the additional I/O. That's
well, and on this one we really did. We've spent the last year working on it. We wanted, with the Pro Patch, the whole thing is we don't do anything to your audio, and we want to do the same thing with the converters. Totally clean converters, so that because you're routing. If it's in this box, you're routing out into something. The whole intent was that the box didn't add anything.
What are these retailing for?
Well, this gets built into this in stage one, and I don't have a price, but it'll be $1,500 plus or minus. Yeah. We will end up turning this into a standalone box as well, but I have no idea what the price is on that.
No, but this is going to be quite revolutionary.
Oh, I think that when this has this converter box in it, we built something that no one has ever built.
Yeah.
So, quite excited about that.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's like with SSL and the Oracle, they got a lot of people being negative about it. But I like the thinking. I don't, we're in a business old enough where we look around and we're like, cover all these beautiful pieces of hardware, and start thinking about like, how can I just patch this all into my life, where it's all accessible at any time, any way I want it. Then you put the converter inside of it. It's a game changer. It's a really, God, I hate using that phrase. It's overused, but it really is.
You did it.
I did it, didn't I? God, I was criticised, but it's a really, really smart idea. I really like that. Great work.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good. My very good friend, Mr. Dave Kersner. How the devil are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
You good?
How are you?
I'm good, my friend.
Yeah.
We've done, I don't know, quite a lot of video content over the years together, whether it be plugins and Ax.io I see there, of course, the Arc we did just a few months ago.
Yeah, Arc Studio.
And we've been through the range. And then you called me a couple of weeks ago and said, oh, by the way, you really need to check out this.
The iLoud sub. This is an essential part of the studio, and not just in the range of iLoud, but this works with any near field monitors, sort of small size monitors, It's what we call a smart sub. And what that means in this case is that it does room correction like Arc Studio, but factoring in the sub itself. So this essentially has an Arc Studio built in. And when you plug into this, it will correct whatever, not just our monitors, but any NS10s or Atoms or whatever you have, your satellite speakers. The correction is in the sub. And then what it does, which is amazing to me, because no other subs in this price range and size do this, is it adapts to your system and to your room. So it literally, like, the best way to put it is like it makes it flat and seamless between your monitors. And what I love about it, and a lot of people love about it, is typically one of the benefits of a sub, as we know, is it takes the load off of your speakers to do the low end and says, okay, you don't, and then your near fields are more clear. And they're working less hard to do that. This does that, but not only does it do that, it kind of like, I mean, it's essentially what Arc does is it makes like a virtual engineer coming in to tune your room, right? Yeah. So it just does it, and I think with subs, it's interesting. I can't tell you how many studios I've come in where they set the sub at a wrong level. I'm like, it's muddy, it's booming in here and all that. This is such a focused sound. And when you do the calibration and you listen to a bypass without and with, it's like night and day. In any studio, I listen to it in an untreated studio, and it just factors in. Now with Arc, we have a 7-point room correction or 3-point. You can choose the detail of your room correction. It's just amazing. And then it has some fun features too that are just convenient, like it has Bluetooth. So for instance, when we came out with the MTM Mark IIs and the Micro Monitor Pros, we don't have Bluetooth anymore like we do on the original Micro Monitors. And the reason for that is because the original Micro Monitors have a slave and a master, and then there's a cable between the two, and that's how it's stereo Bluetooth. The other ones I just mentioned are XLR and individually powered, so there's no Bluetooth between the two, except there is if you connect them to the sub, because you go stereo into the sub, and then it has the low frequency, and then it goes out to your whatever speaker. So what's great about that, I mean, if you just talk, you're in the studio, and someone says, oh, listen to this song on my iPhone, you just sing it over with Bluetooth. It doesn't sound as good as going direct or whatever. It's more of a convenience feature, but it's something that people missed, let's say, in the other Pro monitors. Say, oh, but this is so nice to have Bluetooth. It's like, all right, well, now you have it. So you have that, you have the room correction, you have Arc X software, and let's just say it's going to continue to be able to do more speakers, more immersive connection between all the speakers, whatever you have.
I just listened to all the monitors off camera, and actually going between all of them with the sub. These are my favorites. This combo.
Oh, okay,
it was weird. It was like I felt like I got more high mid definition with the addition of from that than I did on this.
It's funny.
My ears like this.
These were my favorites. Yeah. They still are as a standalone because it's a 6.
Yeah, I meant with the sub.
But with the sub, I haven't listened to that yet. But I'll bet you're right. I bet that sounds really good.
Yeah, really good with the sub.
And of course, this would be a great combination for all of them are really for an Atmos rig or a 5.1 system.
But to clarify, what I think is why this is going to win is because, like you said, it comes with the Arc software, which we've used and is dumb. Easy to use, God bless it. It comes with the software, so no matter whether you've got their monitors or Joe Schmo's, anybody's monitors, it will calibrate and decide where the best crossover frequency point is. Yeah. That is the difference. Most of these things are fixed, and when they're not fixed, they're at the, put it this way, whenever I've room corrected, I've usually just forgotten about the sub, just corrected with it, and then just to taste brought the sub in. This now is going to calculate the point where the crossover should be on anybody's monitors.
Yeah. And you know what else really surprised me as like a feature that was humbling, because I had it set to where I thought I liked it, whatever. Yeah. And then I was talking to the developers, and they're like, no, set it to Unity game and let it choose the levels.
Yeah.
And I did that, and it sounded so much better. It was like, no, these are the levels. So crossover and the levels and the EQ. Yeah. And what I love about Arc software is that you can see what it corrected. So you see the graph of it, and you can even change it. If you don't like it, you want to just get a little more highs or this and that, you can change it. But I mean, it's I'm a believer.
You have an advantage. You have an advantage over a lot of companies in the fact that you make the software and the hardware.
Yeah. Speaking frank about it also.
That's me being frank, because we know there's a lot of hardware companies, a lot of software companies, but they combine themselves together, and that's fantastic. But with you doing this together, it makes it more cost effective. It means that people are buying what they want. You're not.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
Well, because we also make ARC software, and you can use it as an insert on your DAW, whatever, and that's convenient. It's good price and all that. I personally like the hardware versions, and the way that they both work, just to know, is it's essentially like the software, and then it stores in the box.
I like that too, and to be honest, I'm no genius when it comes to stuff. I've sat there and bounced the mix and been like, oh, I forgot to turn the bleeding plug-in off my bus, And I know it sounds so dumb for any professional, but we all do that, especially when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're doing recall number 47. And you do not want that. Get up in the morning to the email from Japan telling you that why did the mix suddenly sound so bad? And you're like, because you didn't turn your master bus software room correction thing off. So that's a really smart idea.
I like that.
And plus, I like it. You can take it with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
You can travel with it.
Certainly for that, the Arc Studio. The fact that the iLoud sub has the Arc Studio built in is very interesting to me, because it serves a lot of different purposes. The obvious is, you want a sub? Okay, it's low cost, it's small, so it's like, okay, for that reason, some people would just buy a sub because they're in the market for a sub. But even if you weren't in the market for the sub, I was just talking to Paul Camarada from Sunset Sound, and he liked the idea of like taking, let's say, the NS10s or other near fields, whether it's an edit station or whatever, and just make it sound better, a little louder, just a little more oomph, and things like that. So using it as a stereo near field improvement tool, think of it that way. And then the other thing I think is that it's sort of like a Trojan horse for people who are like, okay, I don't know about room correction, but I'll get a sub. It's like, okay, well, it has it in there, why don't you try it? And then they hear it and they're like, okay, you know what? I love it. Because it's one of those things, like either it's really expensive or you have this and it's like, many people, don't hear the difference. Like, it sounds just as good as a really expensive system. It can be this price because we have, all these different.
We've done it with lots of different softwares, but just in general speaking, on my old SSL, I always had 3 pairs of monitors at all time on there, and I was flicking between them. I was generally working on one pair, but I was referencing the other. And once you're flattening something out with a sub, it's getting really bleeding close, And I'm not going to say, a $500 versus $10,000 is going to be the same.
Right.
But where it's this different, it now suddenly becomes that different, And
the interesting thing too is that something that IK has been praised for ever since even these guys, the little micro, is the bass response. So like, wow, like, is there a sub? The bass response is so good. And even though that's the case, people like Tom or Algae spend 80% of their time mixing on MTMs, even though they have big barefoots or whatever else, mains, that they spend most of the time because of, you don't want to listen to big speakers too much because you get listening fatigue. So at lower levels and, hearing it like that. But with a sub now, it's just kind of like getting you that much closer. Obviously, money-wise, you're saving a lot of money versus a really, like a $10,000 speaker. Yeah. And it's not exact the same, but frequency-wise, you're getting more of that kind of big monitor sound just by adding a sub.
Yeah, I don't know what it is for me. I'd like to pose this question. I mean, like, so an album I just finished mixing. We're in a new room. I don't have any speakers up. Just loaded it up. Got to get the album done by the end of the week. So I'm mixing on headphones only. And I've got my Odysseys and I love them. Everybody does. And we did a live stream, and of course they're open back. So I had to put on a pair of 7506s,
right?
$80 headphones to do the live stream, so it wouldn't be into the mic. And then when I carried on mixing, I'd forgotten them. I didn't forget, but I just carried on using them. And I realized that quite often I like the sound of something which is, how can I explain it? It doesn't have to be so absolutely perfect in every single detail. Sometimes I just want to mix for excitement. And I think I understand Tom's thing. He's probably just getting in there, it's exciting, he's enjoying it and all this kind of stuff. And then he'll go to his big mains or whatever and go, oh yeah, I could just tweak this. But a lot of the time in what we do, we just want this to be like a fun experience. Yeah. And enjoying what you do is a big part of why we do this.
The cool thing about the iLoud range, I feel, is that it's one of the few monitors that's actually fun And we're on video, by the way. That's my brother, Gary. He's the boss. Hey, how you doing? By the way, I wanted to show you, we were talking about headphones. Gabe, you got one or no? Oh, yeah. So, you're talking about headphones. This is another new product, Arc On Ear.
Yep.
And
we did it.
Right, we did it.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I could just say real quick.
It's great.
This is another one of those products that like I'm using and I'm thinking like, so let me just say quickly for those who don't know what it is.
You changed my opinions on Sennheiser 650s because of this. I took these 650s that all my friends use and tell me I should use. And I was like, no. And then we put it on that and I'm like, oh my God, these sound amazing now.
Well, so it's a correction device like Arc Studio, but for headphones, where we've already taken like 200 pairs of headphones, audios, everything that you can imagine, and corrected them in the sense that all the headphones we listen to have some kind of hype somewhere. That's what makes them enjoyable to listen to. And we're used to that, like 7506s, I love them. But this allows you to hit a button and hear it calibrated flat. So you really, for translation, and you really know what it sounds like elsewhere. It's like, oh, I thought it had all these highs and it didn't, or whatever. So it kind of evens the playing field also between two different, you just said you were using two different headphones. So it'll actually be like, hey, let me put these two different headphones on, but hear it a little bit more homogenized, And it has some other fun features in it, like an emulation of what speakers sound like in terms of the bleed when you listen to monitors, so you can adjust the width. And there's speaker modeling and a few other fun things. But I was saying, like, you know what, though? All that stuff is great. And just to be able to listen to it flat is fantastic. But it's also a small headphone amp and an audio interface. I was doing some mixing work, and I'm like, this is the smallest interface I have. I'm not recording with a mic. I just need a DAC. It's a really good quality DAC and headphone amp. So I'm like, I can just take this, better than what I have in my laptop, and just plug in headphones, a quarter inch or whatever, and do my mixing work or editing with this, whether I use those features or not. So I'm like, you know what? This is actually my second favorite to the iLoud sub of new products from IK. And it comes with a little travel bag, and it's USB-C.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So IK.
Well, Dave, as ever, thank you ever so much. I really appreciate it, my friend.
Likewise.
Yeah. All right, there will be links down below. I think the sub is awesome. Check it out. So, last year at NAMM, I bumped into Justin and Jason, and you said, we're building a studio.
Yeah.
And then I immediately went into a live stream with our friend Laura at Shore.
Yeah, it's over at Shore.
Yeah, and we were just talking about, what's going on, and, what do you think of the state of the industry? And I was like, well, there's actually some young guys here that are very ambitiously building a studio. Well, you finished it.
Yeah, we finished it. Yeah, 4 months ago, man. Yeah.
Amazing. And Eric can probably zoom in on this.
Well, it's called the Foundry Recording Studio. We're in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, between New York and Philly.
Yeah, man, 6,000 square feet. We have 8 studios, and it's all based on access, community, and education.
Congrats.
And so we believe people deserve to have access to really good rooms, high-quality gear, because that's where the best music's made. And doing it together in community, man. Like, I think post-COVID, people, especially our generation, we want to do it together in the same room together. And that's where the best music's made. And so we built a space that harbors that. So.
Yeah, we got it. Basically, I've been saying it all week and for months now, years now. And we just got to, AI, there's one thing it can't do, and that's this.
Yes.
Right.
Human beings interacting.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
So I'm very excited for you.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
I don't know, you do. My wife just got your number, so we have to figure out flying to go and see you.
Yep.
Please.
Hey, just
Yeah.
let us know
Yeah.
when, man. We'll make it work for you.
We will make it happen.
We'll make
Absolutely.
it happen.
Great. So it is Foundry, the Foundry.
Recording Studio.
Recording Studios. Eric, we'll put a link below, won't you, Eric?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you, Warren. You're
Yeah, thank
you're
you.
an inspiration
Yeah,
to both
thank
of
you
us.
seriously for your
We've been watching your
content.
stuff for years.
Yeah,
So.
You
yeah,
rock.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
And you were one of the ones that taught me, dude. So I really have a lot to thank
Was
you
it
for.
all I know is I know nothing?
Yeah. Well, hey, that means you're a smart man.
That's
so,
right.
Seriously.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Warren.
man.
Have a
Appreciate
great
it.
night.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, every single time I do anything related to SSL, the same question always comes up. Where's Mark Daniel Nelson? So there he is. Now the same question always comes up. It's like, well, they've made this, but where's the dynamics? Where's the this, that, and the other? And everybody always relates to this very famous little console that you may have heard of called the 4000, otherwise known as the 4K. And I owned one for about 25 years, and I've made 1 billion records on them, like everybody else I know. So, at the show, as of today, hey Fady, how are you?
How are you? Good, thank you.
They have released what everybody has been asking about for about the last 25 years.
very
Because
long
I
time.
love my 4000. It was absolutely amazing. But it had its problems. Problems were, as Bruce Millet was over every other day keeping it running. Number one. But secondly, honestly, even with some of the new fancy things, it's still, my electricity bill was like through the roof, not to make the repairs. And it was never quite feasible to do any kind of lateral switch to a new SSL. It was always going to be a couple of $100,000 to get the same stuff.
Right.
So,
And a few things that may not be there anymore.
two things that may not be there
Exactly.
anymore.
Yeah.
So what have you done?
What we've done is we've
Insert
answered
the word
that.
finally.
We have finally, yes, we're calling it Evo for short for evolution.
Yeah.
When we did the Origin, it was, everybody was like completely stunned that we were able to bring most of the 4000 in.
Yeah.
But of course, the first thing everybody was crazy about was where are the dynamics? Where are the dynamics?
Yeah.
So we've answered that question. We put the dynamic section on here.
Great.
In exactly the same way that it was in the 4000, so that you can go EQ before dynamics before EQ.
There's always the channel out button. You have to push the EQ into the compressor to
Exactly.
get that pang sound
Exactly, yep.
that we all
So-
love, the SSL sound.
So it's like that wonderful butler of modules that just says, yes, sir, I can do that.
And you can plug it straight into a wall, and it won't cost you $1,500 a month in electricity bills.
That's right, yes.
Beautiful.
It even will go down into a power save mode without you having to shut it down.
Right.
So typically when you blowing the whole thing up, you're about 1,000 watts, which is basically a 1,000-watt light bulb, and it goes down to about, a lava lamp level power when it's on power save mode.
Kids glow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Great. So this is it.
This is it. Now
Beautiful.
notice we stuck with the original frame because what we didn't want to do is we didn't want to leave our existing Origin clients behind.
Right.
So we're making it possible for them to buy a kit of 8 channels that they can bring into their existing system. And in order to do that, of course, we have to maintain the same frame size.
Right.
But the frame itself actually does have a few alterations on this version.
Okay.
So one big one would be the ability to take the group faders and move them up here so that you can make room for a control surface like a UFA on the same plane as the faders here.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that a lot of people were asking us about.
Yeah, I suppose I got so used to doing what you're not supposed to do, which is have my computer screen here and do my edits and then turn around.
Turn around, exactly.
Yeah, and
so being able to have that all in one orientation is great.
No, it's good.
The other thing is that we also added a low pass filter, a 12 dB per octave low pass.
Yeah.
That was missing from the original Origin. You could use it. You could use it also in sidechain.
Yeah.
So you could use the high and low pass filter to target a specific key signal that you want the compressor to attack on.
Yeah.
Something else is we also added a link feature.
Yeah.
So when you link adjacent channels to one another, they become a stereo pair.
Yep.
So they
just like
trigger,
my old 4000.
Just like the old 4000.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, this is basically. Let's have a look at this. Eric worked on that console for years too. He knows it well. The guy holding the camera. Does this remind you, Eric? It's got everything that we know and love.
Yeah, and we stuck with the orientation with the boxes being on top.
So this is if you wanted to go before the dynamics. So that's my channel out button, as it were. So I push that in and I go EQ straight into compression.
Yep. And you also have an insert point which can go before or after that circuit.
Right.
So that's down here on insert pre.
Yeah.
You're able to. So if you want your insert to happen before the EQ circuit, you can do that. And then if you flip these around, that actually becomes before the dynamic circuit.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I see small fader, large fader.
Yeah, every element on the channel
Yeah.
has access to both signal paths.
Right.
So you want to do this in post, fine. You want to do it on tracking, fine. Every element can go to either path. And that's discrete for each channel.
I mean, the thing is, I was always using this in hybrid, so yes, I was using some channels to track, but most of the time I was tracking and I was monitoring, but it was also my mix. So usually by the end of tracking, it was like, we're mixed, You know, this is beautiful.
And it still has, you know, this is another feature that a lot of people use is just zero out the fader. Yeah.
It's really good if you've got, if you, especially if you've printed with dynamics and stuff already.
Yes.
Then you're just doing your fader moves inside of your DAW.
Yeah, exactly.
And just hit that button, and you know, you can keep this where it is for something else. Like I may have done a hybrid mix fully. I can keep that up on the console. I can go in here, hit 0, and do my recalled mix that was in the box. Coming back, No, it's really smart. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
But this obviously is great because I can then do fader moves.
Yeah. What we've done, we've added a lot of more features to it with version 2 for Pro Tools users, so that the naming conventions are returned, the color is returned, so you're able to reflect a lot more detail of what Pro Tools is providing, whereas the original workflow really is very basic and doesn't provide a lot of naming expansion. It only gives you like a very basic naming structure. Flip to this and it gives you a lot more detail now. So it's a lot of catching up to a lot of the other DAW profiles that we had. We made that possible for Pro Tools as well.
So 24 channel frame, what are we talking about price?
Well, it's 32 channel frame.
32 is the minimum?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we make a 16.
16 and 32.
At 59,000.
Okay, 59,000.
Yeah, and this 32 frame is 75,000.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. That's competitive. I mean, that's, you know, with the, sorry to name drop it, but with the 1608, that's what people are used to paying. So it's great you're coming in at that competitive price.
Yeah, and we stuck to the VCA circuit.
Yeah.
That's something else. A lot of people were like, we want that old VCA circuit. So we designed our own VCA to match the original one.
Oh, wow.
And we dropped them into this channel.
Because the originals were the DBX, weren't they?
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know, because I used to have like 20 spare channels, all with these big, huge DBX.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So it is a true e-signature channel, East channel basically. And one last thing, with the frame itself, this buffer here is actually standardized.
Yeah.
So the tracks underneath, you could pull this out, allow a desk manufacturer to lock in to their own buffer. So it becomes a unified construction with a third-party desk. So there is no gap between this desk and the actual furniture that you might purchase. So that's something else that we added to this.
It's great.
And it's a slight color change as well.
Yeah, but God bless it. Okay.
It's about 600 pounds.
Yeah. No. Very nice indeed. So I think, Now, what's the thing that everybody's going to say that they still need?
Automation, probably.
Automation, but that's what you do with the bucket here.
That's what you do with that, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, so for assignable, I can assign, say, my whole kit?
Well, yeah, you zero the faders.
Yeah.
And you lean on these as your control tracks for your faders.
Yeah.
And of course, this is DAW automation.
Yeah.
But being able to render back in from the console with that automation is easy.
Right.
Because you have direct outs on every one of these channels. So you can do a single pass right back into the board with the automation changes and go back to using these faders as normal.
Right.
So, it is a different style of workflow, but it does work.
I think for the kind of music that I work on, I work on lots of stuff, but the kind of music I've done, just mixed a record this last week, piano driven. Most of the dynamics are built into the production itself. So like, here comes the extra elements for the chorus. But even when it's like a rock pop kind of thing, it's a combination of the production allowing the dynamics to build, mixed in with simple things like I want to bring up my kick and snare in the chorus. I'm probably going to be running greater amounts of reverb, which is returned up here anyway.
Right, yeah.
I want my vocal to come up, and maybe a stereo pair of guitars. I'm never probably going to go beyond about 8 elements. So, the small moves that I'm going to do, I can do so much easier in my DAW anyway.
Yeah. Because it becomes this becomes more of an instrument.
Yeah.
Versus the DAW being more of an analytical tool. This you kind of just listen and reach. Listen and reach.
I just
listen
can
and
just
reach.
trust it. I know that if I EQ the vocal on here, into compression, I EQ my guitar stereo bus to get that clang, so it spanks in on the chorus.
Yeah.
It just becomes a up. It's a lifesaver.
Up is loud. And it
How are you,
makes it
Dave?
quiet.
Good to see you.
How are
So
you?
what they've done, Dave, is they've finally basically done what a 4000 was.
Oh, okay, good.
Everybody's been going, where's the 4000, where's the 4000?
That was one of the first consoles I learned on.
So that's absolutely amazing. What other pertinent information do I need to know, Fady? Anything you can think of?
Well, we can get one to you in about February.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're going to get one in February. Hey, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks ever so much for showing us around.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Very excited. I think this will answer a lot of people's prayers, and so God bless it. You walk around NAMM, and you just bump into the most random people, don't you? Me! I'm the most random person you know.
You are the
How are you?
I'm good.
It's the great JJ Blair, in case you hadn't guessed.
And I've known you for how long?
Since I probably went to LA, 96, maybe 97?
We've known each other a long time. I love this man.
29 years. Yeah, how have you been?
I am super good enough, man. It's my yearly quest to come to NAMM and not get sick with the NAMM tracks.
Okay, good.
I don't even look at gear. I just say hi to friends like you.
Okay, good. I wish there's a lot. So we got our daughter with us, who's 11, and she says to me, she goes, "Daddy, how do you know everybody?" I'm like, "You don't understand. We all know each other."
It's
like,
I was my assistant is with me. I was saying, I came to my first NAMM in like 91, 92. Like I didn't know a soul, and I know it takes me 2 hours to go down the first 2 aisles because I know so many people that I want to, and not just like, hey, how are you? But like people I know and they want to talk and catch up, and that's the only reason. We used to have hallways in big studios when we had budgets and we could visit then. Now we have to come to NAMM to visit with each other.
No, it's amazing. I love it. I love it. I'm really excited. The AES is going to be in Nashville this year, and the Graham is going to be running it this time, so I have a lot of high hopes for it. Hopefully we can persuade you to come out to there. You going to Nash Vegas much? Cashville?
I was my first time there was to work with Johnny and June back in '99.
Yowza.
But in Hendersonville at what's now the Cash Cabin. So I was doing a bunch of work there, and now I'm not working with that client anymore, and so Nashville. You have 8,000 engineers. 30 of them are really good. But if you need a 31st really good engineer,
give him a call. Well, hopefully
that
we'll see
That was
about that.
the most obnoxious thing to say, but it was funny, wasn't it?
No, I don't care. Have you seen anything you're interested in? I know it's day one, and you've been, like you said, not really looking at gear. But is there anything that takes your fancy?
The Helios console.
Okay, well,
that gave me wood.
Okay, I have to go and see him. I have not. Yeah, I own the visit. I love everything Acme, everything Helios.
Yeah, I have some of the modules. I love Helios, and the fact that they have finally made a console.
Yeah,
it's like awesome. I wish they'd done it like the Eric Clapton console, the blue one with the what
I have worked on a Helios console.
Nice.
On the 10cc, the maroon one, the wrap. Yeah. Well, it's the maroony red color. Yeah, wrap.
The Strawberry Studios one.
Yeah, it was sitting for a while in a warehouse in London, and I worked with this band called, if you're watching, Patch. Remember the band? Oh, Pomeroy. The band was called Pomeroy, and it was in this warehouse, and we just got carried away doing guitar overdubs because we just wanted to keep using it. Let's do another overdub. Let's do another overdub. Another overdub.
It's the greatest guitar preamp and EQ in the world.
Yeah. I would agree. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. And that was on tape. So we were just like, do 3 takes, done with the 1, just keep going and going and going so we could end up with a wall of absolutely massive guitars.
More is more.
More is more when it's a Helios. Yeah, that's very exciting. We'll check that out tomorrow, won't we, Eric? Okay, good. So we're back with Matt.
Hello.
Big Bad Back Matt. I tried to make him right.
Big Bad Wolf.
Big Bad Wolf.
Big Bad Matt.
Matt is, as you know, a very good friend of mine, of ours. We've done many videos. Many
videos over the years. Well, we've known each other for quite a long time at this point.
Quite a long time. Yep. And you're a man of many talents. Multi-talents? Many talents?
Multi-hyphenate?
Yeah,
something
great
like that.
guitar player, remixer, mixer, DJ.
Once upon a time. I haven't worn DJ shoes in a very long time.
How long is not a very long time?
I think the last time I actually did like a proper DJ set was 2021.
Okay.
So nearly 5 years.
Yowza. Was it basically COVID that killed it?
COVID killed the DJ.
Wow.
COVID killed the radio star?
Carry killed the DJ star.
Yeah, it doesn't really hold up the same.
DJ. Stick an extra syllable in there. All right. What have you got? First of all, you got a beautiful looking shark.
This, yes.
With a matte neck.
It's this beautiful satin neck, and like Charvel is one of my favorite brands that we at Fender happen to look after. And this one I particularly love because I'm not a Floyd Rose person. Most shreddy guitars and even most Charvels and Jacksons tend to have Floyds. I like a simple hardtail bridge because I also love changing tunings all the time. And
you want stability, yeah.
I want stability, and I can't deal with the wiggling and all that. So
I've got to be honest, this is kind of a.
It's fun, right?
Yeah, because it's got, as you say, it's got a hardtail.
Yeah.
It's got Seymour Duncan's.
So
my
Duncan
favorite
distortions, which are super hot. I mean, this is just a fire-breathing guitar. But I have one of these at home too, and I just figured, when I decided which guitars I wanted to have at our booth here at Fender Studio, I really wanted to represent basically all of our family of brands. So of course there's some Fenders there, and there's American Classic Strat and a Tele.
I have one myself.
And those are fantastic guitars. There's a Gretsch over there.
Ooh, yeah.
There is a Jackson hidden under the stage for me to use on Saturday for a demo. And it's an American soloist, and it's also a beast. Very fun.
Very nice.
So one of the best parts about working at Fender is, of course, I have access to a wealth of guitars, which when you love guitars is slightly problematic. But it's a great...
Problematic? No, an advantage.
It's both.
It's a competitive advantage.
It is. It's like, I know that... Anyway. But anyway, what we're doing here, of course,
Apparently we're supposed to be talking about pro audio, so we're actually supposed to be talking about that.
So
we're both guitar players.
As much of the internet knows, but not all of it, we just relaunched a brand called Fender Studio just about a week ago.
Okay.
And Fender Studio is based on the premise of we want to be the ecosystem for musicians from start to finish.
Okay, good.
So now, you could be 13, you get your first guitar. Well, now we have a Fender Studio interface that you could. This is a Quantum LT2. They run, I think, $149. And this, of course, comes from our lineage of Presonus. And Fender bought Presonus in 2021. And 5 years later, we decided to take the best of, or not even the best, but a lot of their tech, the stuff that was really geared towards music creation, and brand that as Fender. It's really cast the net as wide as possible for musicians.
Nice.
And so we have new interfaces that just came out. These are the LTs. These are all really big bang for the buck. So an LT2, LT4, and an LT. This is $399.
Okay, so
for $6. Yeah.
Stop for a second. So Presonus interfaces rebranded as Fender?
Indeed.
Okay.
And it's the same team that designed the Presonus stuff, which were award-winning, and now they're designing the Fender teams, or the Fender interfaces. On the software side, Fender Studio Pro is the next iteration of the award-winning Studio One Pro.
So the software is still Presonus?
Software is now Fender Pro, or Fender Studio Pro.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, okay. And I did not know all this.
Yes.
Okay.
It's really started quite a firestorm on the internet, which has been great for us because we love the engagement.
Yeah.
So,
Does it make a difference to people? What's the firestorm about?
For some people it does.
Just the changing of the name? I'm asking an honest question.
I mean, some of, I think there's a lot of deep emotion rooted in the identity of, Presonus Studio One.
Okay.
And I think the important thing to recognize is we didn't change Studio One. The team that built Studio One for the last 15 years is the exact same team who built Fender Studio Pro. And in many ways, Fender Studio Pro could be looked at what would have been the next successor to Studio One, like Volume 7. This would have been Studio One 8. So it's just a natural evolution. We didn't dumb down any features, we just expanded the features.
Okay.
So it's really exciting. I love the whole idea of just being able to be the center point from, really, you go and say you're 13, and you get that first guitar and you want to play punk rock. And we can provide that whole ecosystem, so all of a sudden you can have your little interface, you can have some headphones, you can get some Presonus monitors, you get Fender Studio One Pro, or even the free Fender Studio app, and you can get off to the races. And then you can grow. One day you get an American Strat, next thing you know, your first guitar to your first Grammy. That's how I'm looking at it.
First guitar to first Grammy. You heard it here first. Matt has guaranteed it categorically.
Yeah, everybody gets a Grammy, but that's the goal. So one of the things that we actually changed in the software of Fender Studio Pro, we include now, of course, the Fender Mustang and Fender Rumble amps. So guitar and bass amps. Between the two of them, it's 59 amplifiers and 150 effects pedals, which is extremely comprehensive. They sound great, and I mean, without a doubt, it's the most comprehensive amp solution for any DAW.
Wow.
So they sound great. We now have a channel overview as well, which is kind of, you've seen this kind of look before, and I'm just going to close out the Mustang for now. So now if I brought effects in here, let's say I wanted a phaser, in front of the amp just for fun, it'll drop things along, kind of like you had guitar pedals. We have a new reverb called Studio Verb, which it's a nice big modulating hall reverb. It's very versatile, and it's actually, without a doubt, the best reverb that has ever existed in the Studio One to now Studio Pro lineage.
Nice.
So aside from that, we also have an integration with the Fender Tone Master Pro. So I'm going to exit this for now, but
I don't know what this is yet. I haven't used it, but I want one.
Oh, well, we have a lot.
You know what I mean? I'm looking at it going,
well, okay,
I want that. I think Eric does too.
The Fender Tone Master, we should get you one.
Okay, please.
The Fender Tone Master Pro, it is, it's the pinnacle of Fender's amp modeling. And of course, Fender started with, the Tone Master Twin Reverb. You have one of those.
I have the Deluxe.
Or you have the Deluxe,
love
right.
it. I use it every day still.
Then you'll love this, because what this is, it is, this is the Deluxe that you have in the amp.
Yeah.
No speaker cabinet. But now,
there it is.
It's all of these amps.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Most recently, they just added the Petrol, which is my personal favorite. And that looks like if you know what amp that is.
And another form of petroleum distillate that would go into a vehicle.
Exactly. And those are actually my favorite tube amps. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, truly, that's my favorite tube amp, because I listen to so much
I remember
Tool in
the
my
first
life.
time I saw it, I was working with Limp Bizkit.
Yep.
Wes had one of those, and I remember going into the studio and saying, I was like, what is that?
Yep.
Petrol
Right.
amp.
Right. I love them. The newest model of that, or the newest update included that model, and
nice.
I've been using that nonstop. But the Tone Master Pro can also now be a DAW controller. So if I just hold these two side buttons, it'll cross over. So now I have, start, stop, record, play. So for instance, if I'm just jamming, I'm standing away from the computer, I just need to record an idea, whatever. I could actually just hit record, and all of a sudden, nothing crazy, but it makes it really easy, especially for live, whether you're doing it in your home or using a studio, whatever.
Yeah.
But then one of my other favorite features now in Fender Studio Pro is that now I have this audio file. I have an instrument track right here with a polyphonic synthesizer called Mai Tai. I can take this audio file I just recorded, drag it in there, and say extract notes. And this is using an AI audio, it is audio to MIDI. AI audio MIDI, and it's going to take what I just played in audio and transcribe it perfectly. And it's really fast, and it's really incredible sounding.
So you can write string arrangements on your guitar.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And I'll just turn up the volume. I have no idea what I really just played because I just hacked around a bit, and the synth is just going to be whatever the default preset is. But all of a sudden, that sounds beautiful. It doesn't sound menacing. It sounds like the Imperial March.
That's what's going on in your mind. You're singing to the mind of Matt.
The mind of Matt is always Darth Vader. Yes. But no, it's like, so there's a lot of new stuff we've done. It's a really exciting time to, be like launching a new brand, and really, again, it's all about, being, it might like be the ultimate DAW for musicians. We're the only company that's, that makes DAW that actually is a music company.
Right.
And that's a really special privilege and a responsibility. Right. So, lean into that, and ultimately just like really try to inspire the next generation and create as many musicians as possible. That's amazing. That's the goal.
Right. Yeah, and you've got the Charvel guitar.
And we got the Charvel.
Just gotta get back to the guitar.
How sick are these? These are just beautiful instruments. It's a Ferrari.
Yeah, and with the right color.
Exact. I think the color literally is Ferrari red.
Of course.
Yeah. So anything that's music creation oriented, you're recording guitar, you need interface, all that. That's Fender Studio. But live sound reinforcement, PreSonus, of course, has a really long lineage in the live sound department with the Studio Live consoles. PA systems, that all remains PreSonus.
Okay.
So PreSonus is not going away. The headphones are. It is just being positioned now as, really live sound reinforcement and really relying on the strengths that it's, been so successful at, and then taking the music creation aspect of that and bringing that into the Fender family, where that is just,
nice.
It's the most recognizable music brand in the world.
Excellent.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
Matt, you rock.
Always a pleasure.
I'm sure there'll be links down below, won't there? Some links.
Just for fun, I think have a spin. That's the Fender Twin, and love. And I'm going to switch it up on you because you should be playing a sound that guitar's built for.
So we've been at NAMM for approximately 35 seconds. You're the first person we stopped to talk to. How are you,
Very
Bruce?
cool, very good. Good to see you. Thank you.
I mean, he saved my life millions of times. I remember it was an Ace Frehley record, and it may have been New Year's Eve.
Yes.
Was it the New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve? It was a day that nobody should be working.
Of course, as always, except for people like us.
People like us. And I get this message from somebody at the label like, well, we're mastering the day after New Year's Day. And we're all going, we're not available tomorrow, so you need to do all these recalls. So, of course, the SSL just didn't work. It just completely, I can't remember what it was, power supply?
Probably power supply, yeah.
And so he comes over at like 7 o'clock in the evening on New Year's Day or Christmas Day, or Christmas Eve or whatever, and replaces the power supply, and I do the recalls and we get the album mastered. Yeah. So, and that wasn't actually, that was like one of 12 times.
As I say, a few times, things like that, yeah.
So, what, you're here to
we just
talk about some new stuff? What
we've been pushing the console. We've got the new metering on the console.
Great.
We're coming to see a whole bunch of clients here. We had a nice big event last night and had a bunch of people come by and see everything over at One on One, and that was cool.
Oh, nice. We didn't get in until last night, so.
All right.
Unfortunately, missed it.
Yeah, we had it's good. We've seen a whole bunch of people already. And
so tell us about the new console quickly.
Console's a custom Series 75.
Great.
And the latest additions are we've started adding a 500 rack as an option above the modules, so that if you want to add in a compressor on every channel, you can.
Great.
But once again, we're leaving it open so you can put whatever you want in there.
Amazing.
And we have the new metering, of course. So we've been working with Tangerine THD people to do the digital metering, which is truly wonderful because you can have the combination of either traditional VU meters or switch it back over to bar graphs just by pressing a switch on the console.
So you got that, and you're running around Los Angeles making sure that everybody's SSL still works.
Looking after everything else. So if you come by our place, we've got at the moment we've got obviously we've got about 5 or 6 of our consoles in production. But we've got about 21 SSLs ranging from B series through K series, which we're either refurbishing, rebuilding, or repairing. We have beautiful old vintage Neve. We've got a Sony Oxford. Amazing. We've got an API custom and RCA tube console. Amazing. We've got MCI in there at the moment as well.
Oh,
so yeah, we dabble in everything.
Well, Mr. Bruce Millet, there will be a link down below, and great to see you. I'm sure I'll see you again.
We shall, certainly.
Very soon. Ruben, how are you?
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to see you, my friend. Really, really good. What have you got that's new?
Yeah, we have here the channels, the completely full channel strip here. I mean, we have presented it here the first time 2 years ago as a prototype here.
I remember.
But now it's full running with all the processing going on, as well the plugin is going on. So yeah, that's what we're showing here.
So this is the USB, and
USB or Ethernet.
Recallable.
So USB or Ethernet connectivity, and it's a VST that you can run in your Pro Tools session or whatever you want to recall the session.
Perfect.
Also the channels.
I love it. I love it. Well, the thing about your stuff is it's always you rely on the past, meaning you know what's good about it. But I think Christian and I said this the last time we were sitting here. I think we did a podcast on somebody's channel, and we were talking about it. And Christian's like, well, you know, Elysia, or Elysia as you would say, is probably the only company that actually is always pushing the boundaries and isn't relying on trying to just recreate the past. Not that we don't like the past, we do, but this is great. I'm glad you're doing this. I need more companies to be thinking this way, because that's the way that analog hardware is going to survive.
Absolutely.
Is if we can recall it in a session, because the thing we're always complaining about, myself included, is like, oh, I've got to recall 5 mixes today by 3 different clients.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there trying to, oh, this is beautiful. Dynamic EQs?
Yeah, that's a special thing. So normally this is now my gain that you have on EQ. If you push this, now you set up the dynamic, or you can also even do it upwards. It's also possible. And when I hold the switch, it goes into the Q. So now I can engage this. That's the compressor section here. And you can also switch it to a limiter. So it's both in, let's say, parallel, and as well as a soft knee compressor and a hard knee also compressor on top of this. And it's working in parallel. And the one that has, let's say, more gain reduction takes over. And then you can combine both.
What's the limiter set to? 20 to 1, 10 to 1?
You can change this ratio.
Oh, you can? Okay.
If you hold this in a sub-menu of the compressor, and then this became the ratio control now for the limiter or for the compressor.
Okay, that's amazing.
I'd like to mention here is the monitor section, because this is what makes this channel set really outstanding. You plug in your headphone, their premium headphone amplifiers in, and you do the mix on board. You can mix the playback to the signal that is processed, and also an internal reverb is integrated. And if you push this, you have a mixer for the artist, and this output and switch is for the engineer. And so you can say, okay, during the recording, as an engineer, okay, I mute the playback, I want to use the pure vocal, or embedded this in the mix, or with some reverb. And this is something which is very complicated in any other configuration, that you really can control everything during the recording. And one feature is there's an onboard routing system. So when there's an insert, you can insert your favorite other equipment. When I hold this, you can set the position of all the modules. And here you can see it even better in the plug-in version. Now it's flavor, EQ, compressor, and insert. And you can flip them around as you want. So if you change this here, you can completely change the order of the signal path internally.
Okay, I'm getting this. The initial thing is thinking, oh, everything but the kitchen sink, complicated. That's the initial reaction. But now, because you've got plug-in stuff, you could leave stuff permanently set up on the insert. Each session you open up, oh, this is the session where you could even have a template. You could have a template where you go, well, I'm going to import my, when I mix, I use it on this channel with this inserted compressor.
Absolutely.
This is my vocal setting, this is this.
And here we have a preset management. So if you have it also as a mixing tool and you insert it, you can also have project, preset, global preset, and this is what's on the machine here. So you can also rename the stuff that's inside of the machine.
Okay, so this is awesome. So what we're moving to is like when you think of, you know, a lot of people like myself got so used to using like a 1073, and then we use a 160 going into an M76, so compress and limit, where you're EQing, compressing and limiting, and that's my vocal, my electric guitar, my mono piano mic, my acoustic guitar, whatever. This becomes this becomes the unit that is like the one tool that you need, because once you move past maybe recording drums and a stereo piano, let's be honest, 99% of what we do is one mic. One mic and maybe a DI or something like that. So I love this idea. It's really, really smart. Good thinking. Well, I mean, I knew you'd... You're always good with thinking.
Thanks.
It's your forte. This is amazing.
Thanks.
All right. How much is it?
Here in the US, it's $9,000 US now.
9,000 US. Amazing. That's incredible. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Warren, to be here.
Great to see you. Great to see you.
Wojtek,
Shelby.
good to see you again.
Likewise.
So the last time I saw this console, you were facing some issues with getting the fader caps here, but you were telling me just about how much and how fleshed out this console was under the hood.
It's not a fader.
It's not a fader. That's the key thing. It's not a fader.
Yeah, this is a switch.
This is a switch.
This is a switch. So last time we had 250 resistors underneath, and we figured out that's a lot. So we're not going to do that anymore. So we put 400. That's how we operate.
Okay.
So you're looking at the most precise unit that it's in existence. It's something that doesn't go out of spec because this is, you know, you got resistors. There's no steps to it as everybody thinks. The way the wiper is
that's
designed.
the first thing I noticed is that
Yes.
it's resistor based, but
Yeah.
it's very smooth. Like
Yes,
you would
the
think it's
way the
more like,
wiper is designed, and it's very stable. There's no like wobbling. There's no play, and like I said, it doesn't go out of spec.
So what was the decision that informed this? What was your mentality with this?
Because we can. It's usually that's how.
And that's the thing I noticed about you guys, and the whole channel strip is
Yes.
just because we can.
It is
Why not?
because we can. Yeah, there was no starving family waiting. Like, come on, design something that will sell so we can eat. No, we just if we can do something different and better, we will.
Yeah.
And so going to the channel
Oh
strip.
yeah, run us through the channel strip.
So starting with the preamp on the top, that's a Jensen 990. So Sunset console among the others. You got a very musical, really nice preamp. You want dirt to it, you can put a transformer in and out. If that's not enough,
I love that already.
yeah, you have 5 different THD options that you can blend in.
So overkill.
So
overkill.
And we're just here,
Yes.
Then you have your insert point, and you can actually engage the blend or just take it out.
Amazing.
Then you have an opto compressor with a tube makeup gain. There's a sidechain filter, and you can also key it from the external source. And after this, you have a passive EQ.
Passive, nice.
So, for example, you got high, mids, and lows. High frequency, you pick a frequency and you boost it, and on a different one, you pick a frequency and you cut it.
And I see we're going right up to 24K.
Yes, because you know why. 24K is better than 20. More is more. So the top
Because we can.
Because we can, of course. So the top and bottom shelf, you can actually, let's say your cut can be shelving, and your boost can be a peak. So now I mentioned there's a insert compressor EQ. You want it in that order, you can have it. But how many options of order you have within the 3 units? There's 6 of them, and how do I know that? Because they're right here.
Oh dear.
Insert EQ compressor, EQ insert compressor.
So how are we doing that? Is the whole series of relays going on underneath, and we're switching? Like, how is that happening?
This guy's brain works in overdrive all the time. Chris, where are you? He went over there.
Right.
8 auxes. Also, when it comes to the compressor can be keyed off of your auxes.
Right.
So, for example, if channel
so
1
you
is
do
your
some side chaining.
channel 1, if it's your kick is always channel 1. If you do it otherwise, Amazon's hiring.
But
But
I saw Bob is not using channel 1 for the kick last night. I was surprised by
We're
that.
gonna have a talk.
yeah.
For example, you send your kick to aux 8 and your bass is on whatever channel. You key it to aux 8 and it will duck to the kick. So you don't have to turn around, patch bay and all this stuff. Short fader.
Very nice.
We can call this a short fader, but not this.
Yeah, of course.
So the processing we had here, the same one is available on your master channel.
Got it.
Also insert, same thing with the whole ordeal of order.
Mad.
And also go into the groups. There's 4 stereo groups. Each group has the stereo width.
Oh, cool.
Just like we have on the LAL.
Yes.
Then we go into the master channel, and there's a master width, there's a master transformer.
Very nice.
And when it comes to the tube and the compressor, the ones on the channels are old stock.
Yep.
The one on your main out are Mullards.
Okay, cool.
So even compressors in bypass mode, your audio still passes through the tube.
Nice.
You can turn the tube completely off.
So there is an option between coloration and transparency.
That is correct, yes. Yeah. Also, there's a mid-side matrix here.
Oh boy.
And that's another because we can.
Yep.
So you have between the insert EQ compressor, so you got 3 processors.
Yes.
So all of them can work in mid-side, but over here now just the first 2 works in mid-side, the third one is in stereo.
Got it.
Now only the first one is mid-side, the rest is not.
Basically any options that you can think of, you've got it.
Because
we can.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Regular facility of your, source selector, monitor selector, whatnot. Yes, no more fader on the master. That's the mastering guy will do that. We don't have to fade out, so their own switch is right here.
Very good.
4 sets of headphones plus yours.
Very nice.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Stop complaining. They're copied to the back as well.
Okay,
You're not going to have 5 jacks coming out of
you
it.
beat me to it. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, that beauty, and people already start like, why is the center section on the left? Like, calm down. This console is going to Ardent Studios. That's how they want it. We can put it anywhere you wish.
Right.
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about that. I think I'm so used to like hodgepodge kind of like build a studio yourself. You know, look, I've worked in hundreds of really, you know, pro beautiful studios, but my own studio's always been like, put the console where it fits, do this, figure it out.
Make things work. Yeah. So you buy it in buckets of 8 then?
Yes. I mean, here's the thing. If you can purchase just the bucket of 8 channels, it will work standalone. Obviously, your auxes are useless at the moment, but it has direct outs.
Right.
There's several mastering facilities that use just the center section.
I see.
So,
How so? Can you run us through what the workflow would be using just the center section?
well, obviously they like the matrix over here with the mid side, or you know, it's even if you're running stems and you want to sum them together.
I see.
Going back to this guy, so they're passing audio just like our every other fader.
Yep.
They are flying, so your DAW will see it. So you can have like a set of auxes or whatever.
Wow. Well, I noticed this button here, door mode.
You're bypassing it. It brings it to Unity, but you can still control your Pro Tools, or
I see.
in case of Shelby, it's Logic.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've got to ask, so 16 channel, 8 bus, fully loaded. How much is this? As we're looking at it.
Just a little bit above 100K US.
US.
You're getting a lot of routing options and coloration.
Like
or
I said, it's
options.
because we can. There's
beefy. This is beefy. That's what I call it.
Yeah, a lot of people, like, you know, they're getting, you know, killed with the options, but I rather hear that complaint instead of, oh, I wish the EQ was before the compressor. I mean, usually you hear it from the people that don't own the console.
Of course. Is it possible to get just a single channel strip? And is there like an enclosure for it in any way, just to have a channel strip?
Follow me. You said you were looking for what? Oh, enclosure. So this is completely the channel strip from the console.
Got it.
We had to use a different meter because obviously it would not fit in 19 inches. But yeah, so you can actually even buy it with a single one and a blank, you can add it. And there's also a 6-pack available. The only difference is because of the external keying for the compressor, you can key it from 2 separate sources. There's 2 key inputs in the back.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Nice. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hi everybody, hope you're doing marvelously well. I'm sitting here with Dirk Ulrich on a mushroom. This is great, this is awesome. Unless you've been living under a rock, which I doubt if you have, you might notice that Dirk did, well, you've done, actually multiple things to say the least. Because not only did you, first of all, when did you start Plugin Alliance and Brainworks? When was that? How long ago was that?
The foundation for Brainworks was literally in like 1999 as a production company, and I've made my living for 20 years out of producing bands. I have a single golden record, so not like 500 like Bob, but a few, one at least. And then in 2006 I had this idea for the BX Digital mid-side EQ plugin, because there were just no plugins that would allow for this mid-side processing. That turned into Brainworks, and then basically the Brainworks team started working with SPL and Mac Audio, and then I said, well, you know what, we should have one website and do like the Plugin Alliance, and I started that in 2011. And I saw
that blew up really quick.
Yeah, that went from like less than 10,000 users to more than 1 million users, literally in like 3-4 years once we started the Alliance and all that stuff. And I sold both companies in 4 years ago, 2021.
Okay.
And then because these super smart bankers thought they don't need anybody in that company that does anything with audio, they told me, well, we want to do this on our own. And of course I had to sit it out a little bit. When you sell a business, they sometimes make you wait a little bit before you do anything else with music. And I've been doing a couple of other things in the meantime, but
You know what's weird? I'm going to interrupt you a second.
Okay.
That actually says that you built a business up that they think could be sustainable without you. It's actually a compliment, because what happens a lot of the times, the banks will come in and buy the business and they say, you've got to stick it out for 5 years because we can't figure out, we needed a transition. So in their mind, they thought that you had built a viable business somebody else could run.
And they paid a lot of money for it, which was great, but then they thought they'd do it on their own, and that didn't go that great. So, but anyway, that's not the topic here, but
It's a great foundation.
Yes, and I really wanted to go back to music and rock and roll, basically. And I grew up being an analog guy. Actually, before I created the VX Digital mid-side EQ, I wanted to build an analog EQ with mid-side and everything, and we used software to prototype it, and that turned into the VX Digital almost accidentally, and then that thing just blew up. Avid signed it, and so...
Yeah, I suppose that's the question everybody wants to know, is you come from this digital world. Obviously you were or are an engineer. Yeah. But that's quite elite in most people's minds. They're thinking, well, this is the guy. He's like one of the biggest, probably one of the biggest at the time, plug-in guys on the planet. You got a massive check. You could be sitting in your back garden with your feet up. I've seen the photos with the swimming pool, you know, with the family.
That sounds great, but it's boring after a while.
I was about to say, and then you decide to buy two absolutely incredible, strangely enough, or not strangely, coincidentally enough, two of our closest sets of friends, Bob and Betty, and Ivana, really close friends of ours.
Even a coincidence that they're so close to each other. I mean, we're talking Santa Monica in LA, which is on the left side of LA, if you don't know LA too well. And on the right side, we have Chino. It's like 90 minutes of a car drive between them, and so
And two powerhouses, I mean.
And two totally opposite product ranges, but we do have some really cool ideas to create new product that would use like the best of the DNA from Manley, the tubes and transformers, and then also the converters, of course. I mean, maybe like a summing mixer that goes straight into Manley tubes and transformers, or
Well, that's the one. Now, you've made one office now that runs both companies, yes?
So I get asked this a lot. Rockforce is like the holding company. It sounds like $1 billion company. It's not. It's just me, but we needed a name, right? And I like this Rockforce thing. Rockforce technically acquired Manley and Apogee. Both companies still are operating as they did, but in terms of marketing and sales, just like with plug-in lines, we're gonna offer them basically to retailers and to customers alike from one destination. And the big idea behind this, other than I really like these brands and the product, is that we're launching this direct to customers rent-to-own program.
I saw that.
Which is this audio.store website. Strangely enough, that domain was available. Like audio.store, I searched and looked, available. I'm click. And so now we will have in the future like Manley.audio.store, Apogee.audio.store. With Manley came Langevin. That's a brand that we want to revive. We have one of their units.
That was very exciting as well. You know, Langevin is a big deal, and of course, you know, knowing Manley for the last couple of decades, I always looked at this and was like, well, these are Langevin ideas anyway.
So there's actually some Langevin. I don't even know if it's Langevin, but some
I've heard it pronounced every way.
And I've heard different ways too, but who knows? Maybe I should just set a standard at some point and say that's how we call it now. But
well, you own it, so however you decide to say it, it's going to stick.
I make up my mind. But so I know there's been some products in the past that was basically very similar to the Manley stuff, but without tubes, basically. And the preamp design of these things has also been copied many times. I think the Sunset Sound mic preamps are very similar to those. And I mean, obviously, most people that know me from Brainwaves plugins know I was never a coder or developer. I can't write a plugin. The same is true for these units. I can't build a tube EQ. I would probably kill myself.
You haven't got the soldering iron out.
But I have ears and I have imagination for what people maybe want and like the signal flow and stuff like this. So that's where I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to start soldering EQs or whatever. But,
it's amazing. So you've touched a little bit on a lot of the questions I wanted to ask, which is like, what's the future? You were just sort of hinted at taking some of the Manley stuff and the ideas about incorporating it into Apogee. I mean, for me, Apogee were like the first really pro kind of interfaces. Manley is you know, you go to any mastering studio in the world that's worth its weight in gold, and it will always have Manley gear as well. So you've gone in at the high end here.
Some of these guys, when you walk into like many American studio, has a mastering room. They have a massive passive there. That's one of the first. They're still mastering Rihanna with it today, with the box that's 30 years old, basically, and it's still. Probably they changed the tubes twice in 30 years, but maybe not. I don't know.
Just so well made, and
that really was what intrigued me. I mean,
because obviously the cynicism The cynicism is like you buy the big names and then you do the spin-off kind of cheaper version. I'm not hearing that from you.
Yeah,
I'm hearing
even with plugins, and we all know that plugins basically cost $29 or less. People don't like the LE version. People don't like the small, the mini, whatever. They don't want to be ripped off. This is the normal version. Now we do like an XL plus whatever. And I think the same is true here. I don't want to make like a mini massive passive, which that's actually a product that did exist. But I don't want to build like a $500 mastering EQ now. And we can, quite frankly. These boxes are still built manually in Chino. We hand wire transformers over there. People have paper templates for the cables inside. They cut like 3 of the white and green and black, twist them by hand. I mean, it's insane. It's insane in a way. But we want to keep it this way. Apogee is very different. There's a very strong design team in Santa Monica and some external people. Even there's a 3D designer in Austria. There's a company in Oregon and in Florida, and they build these motherboards. And there's somebody who tweaks the sound of these converters. And then we're building those overseas, whether it's China or Vietnam right now. Obviously, with some of the terror stuff that's going on, we got to be flexible, and we're trying to. But these boxes come to Santa Monica, and in the future to Chino. Actually, we're combining the warehouse and the logistics. So very opposite ways of handling stuff, but I want to keep it at the high-end stuff. And the way that we're trying to make it more accessible to people is really through this new rent-to-own, because at $99 a month, not to sound like a salesperson, no, but if you can buy a massive passive for $99 a month, anybody who really wants one at that point can probably make it happen. And $7,000 down today is a little steep for most musicians and up-and-coming producers, right?
Sure, absolutely,
Sony Music Madrid building 5 new mastering rooms, they just buy them, of course. But that's not a reality for your band most of the time. So we've started to redesign some of the classic. This is like the stereo Pultec EQ and the mid-band extender. Comes with the new logo now. It has the Manley power supply, and we're doing the same with the variable mu right now. Apogee has released this 40-year anniversary thing. This is actually a handmade prototype. That's why it looks really funky, and that's the box. It's that's a first real new product that we're building. It's a monitor controller with a couple of inputs. It has the solo buttons that I had on all the Brainworks plugins, the solo mid and solo side stuff. It has a transformer and tube stage built in. And the idea is that you can mix with it using it as flat as a cable, basically. Maybe if you want to play it to a band, or if you just want to enjoy listening to some music, you switch on the transformer and get a little bit of extra bass drum fun.
Okay,
and since we're hand building these transformers, we're actually tuning one that fits this thing perfectly. Apogee has a new interface coming out, which is a desktop interface, but with 4 microphone inputs. It has real-time DSP on board. It has an ADAT extender, and it has a really cool guitar reamping input and output, basically. So you can also include pedals when you mix, or you can actually send signals to your diesel and Engel amps.
Are we going to be looking forward to like interfaces in the future with mic preamps that would be built with the Manley name? Or
yes. So in analog and in hardware in general, I think stuff moves a little slower than you can't just create a GUI and select some filters and have a plugin in a couple of weeks or months. But I have this idea. Apogee is really known for the quality of the front end and the conversion. You told me you're still using old interfaces to old converters for your drum recordings, right? So
we have what was the purple one? The 88,000. Yeah, it's the purple 88,000 that goes up to 48K with the soft clipping. Got it from a very old dear friend Dave Jordan. He used it on so many massive records in the late 90s and early 2000s, and we had that on a 12-channel vintage console. And just whenever we print drums for it, people would always say, "It sounds amazing," and it's like, it's a 25-year-old interface.
Yeah. So yesterday we had a big party at the Apogee headquarters with the band playing on stage, and it's Bob Clearmountain Studio still. So even though I acquired Apogee, the studio is still Bob Clearmountain's, and he has one of these old 8068 Neve consoles. And I have worked on a bunch of Neve consoles, but never that model. It's kind of the cheat code.
The one from the power station.
Yes, and so you bring up the faders, and I during soundcheck the day before, Bob wasn't there because his daughter had her 40th birthday, so I was there basically pulling up the faders and balancing it, and we came up with this idea. We should make a preamp interface, basically, like a pure front end, and hand wind some of the transformers with Manley stuff and just get our sound, whatever we like. Maybe get it close to something like this vintage sound, but make it super modern in terms of workflow. And also versatile enough, so maybe it would have like an ADAT interface or Dante, so you can hook it up even with your UAD interface if that's what you. Let's face it, it's being a plugin guy first. It's a big decision if you change your interface, right? Not everybody wants to do that every other year. But I think the conversion quality and the front end sound basically that we can generate with the combination of those would fit into most studios, even if it's just an extra flavor and you already have your main setup. So that's, I mean, it's early stages. I acquired Apogee literally just like 8 weeks ago. And
that long ago? A whopping 8 weeks?
and still no new product. No.
Yeah, what's up? Why no new products?
I think tomorrow, so we will bring the new Nova interface to the show here. Probably tomorrow. We're literally assembling the chassis and the board right now.
We'll sneak back tomorrow.
I mean, I always wanted to do this. My very first product idea was a mid-side analog mastering EQ and whatever. And the fact that I can do this now, and yes, people ask me, I do have plans to also create some new plugins, but I don't want to create another plugin alliance or a plugin boutique and just sell everybody's plugins. We're going to focus on our thing, and then through the audio store platform, we're probably going to grow it a bit again, but that's just my nature. I like building stuff, you know.
So. Well, this is very exciting.
Thank you.
Very exciting. I mean, look, thanks ever so much for doing this, though, because I know, I remember Eric was there, being over with Bob maybe about 8 years ago, going over to the house, unfortunately the house that he lost in the fire, but being in his studio, and he said to me, he goes, you know, Apogee is so important to Betty, and he's like, if she ever lets it go, it has to go into really good hands, and the most important thing to her, and this is when there was no agenda, he wasn't trying to sell it to anybody, he's like, the people have to be looked after because they're like her family.
She really doesn't take that lightly, and yesterday we had this event and she was kind of torn. Does she want to go to the party because it's the Apogee party, but then she also just sold the company. I invited her and I want to keep inviting her, just like Ivana is going to be at the show. I mean, these original founders should be treated with respect, and I want to. But yes, she also told me that she was talking to like 2 or 3 interested parties at some point, and the fact that I was able to acquire them with, this is not a PE firm or bank behind this is me. It speaks for her, both of the ladies, basically keeping the price at a realistic value that I can actually afford. And even though
you can confirm that's you, because I said that's great. I mean, if it's you and you've got your own skin in the game.
Rockforce, like I said, it sounds like it's a $1 billion company. It's me. And will we get some investors on board? Maybe. But the one thing I learned from me selling plug-in lens and Brainworks to a PE firm is I'm never going to be a minority shareholder in anything. Those guys telling you what to do and what not to do when they really don't have a fucking clue. And I mean it.
Yeah, of course.
It's just not cool.
No. Well, I can tell you, my friend, that we will be happy to support you in that endeavor.
Thank you.
It's really important. Bob and Betty are very close to us.
Yeah. I mean, we just released this, their signature is on the limited edition, and I said, I want one of those, you know?
I want one of these.
Yeah.
I want one of these.
I think we only made like, it's either 100 or 40.
Good, 139, because I'm going to get one, yeah?
Either 40 or 100, but...
okay.
I mean, if you want one, we'll work on that, but we got to be quick.
You heard that? You got that on camera? Well, I'm really glad that you are the person that is running these 2 companies now. And it's great to see Langevin or Langevin or Langevin.
We'll tell you next NAMM.
Next NAMM, we'll figure out what it is. Yeah. Thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.